The inflation numbers are out, and let me tell you that they are way better than anything that we could ever expected. Economists expected 8.7%. The Fed warned us that they could get to 8.9%, maybe even 9%, and they came in at 8.5%. And this made the NASDAQ explode. And Bitcoin, well, let's look at Bitcoin over here. Unbelievable little bounce, exactly off the trend line. And that's the beauty when you're working with a thesis. If you're working with a thesis and you can block out all the noise, well, that's the best advantage that you got when you're investing. So today, we're going to look at our thesis. We're going to look at whether we should carry on in our course or whether we should make some adjustments. And I'm going to show you exactly what you need to be doing today. So stay tuned and stay tuned till the end, because at the end, I've got a little special surprise for you. We may be doing some altcoin shopping together. Let's do the BITGET, rise and shine, rise and shine. Lots to talk about today. It's inflation day. Inflation numbers are in our favor. In fact, it's hammer time, but it's only hammer time for inflation. So somebody just tell El Capo that he's half right, because it is hammer time, but it's only hammer time for inflation. That's not for the numbers like he's calling it. Welcome back, guys. What a great day to be back here. What a great day to be back here. Oh, let me switch off my email. That would be an amazing thing. Okay, the email's off. Welcome back. What a great day to be back. Inflation numbers shocked everyone. The only thing that you shouldn't be right now is short. And if you are short the NASDAQ, well, then have a look at this. You don't want to be short the NASDAQ. You don't want to be short the NASDAQ today. I must be honest, I was a little bit short the NASDAQ, but very calculated, very calculated. I'll tell you why I was a bit short the NASDAQ. That's the NASDAQ. Look at that green candle on the NASDAQ, and that's probably a sign of things to come for crypto, because crypto has been quite correlated to the NASDAQ. Here we are. NASDAQ's up 265 points, 2.04%. And that's because we may have seen the highest of inflation. In fact, not we may have seen the highest for inflation. We have seen the highest for inflation. And that has huge implications for the crypto portfolio. A lot of people still don't believe this rally, are still sitting on the sidelines. Those are people that don't have a thesis, but we have a thesis. And we keep following our thesis. And so far, it's paid huge dividends. And today, we're going to continue with our thesis. So I'm going to do what I have to do. Here I am back in Seoul. I'm still in Seoul. Had a great day in Seoul. And I was very far away from the hotel, but I thought I've got to come back and bring you guys a show. So caught a cab, took me 2 hours to get back to the show, back to the hotel, to bring you guys a show on a day like this. What a great day to bring you guys a show. I'm so proud I could bring you guys a show. So listen, what you need to do, very simple. I'm going to bring you guys a show. All you need to do is 3 things. If you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel. 92% of you are subscribed. That makes us the most loyal community in the whole of the cryptoverse. That's a statistic from YouTube, not our statistic. Then the next thing is that 2 favors that I'm going to do for you. I travel halfway around the world. I cut my dinners and evening parties short to spend some time with you guys. What I need from you guys is I need you guys to smash the like button and comment. Tell me how much you love the show at the bottom, because that's going to help us get unshadow banned. We're almost there. We're almost like unshadow banned, but we need like one last push from this amazing community, and then that will hopefully end the shadow ban. I'll also show you some pictures of what we did last night in Korea. It was absolutely amazing. A huge party, after party for the event. Absolutely amazing. We're also going to put through some trades. So let's go. Let's get into it. Remember, you wanted shorter shows? I'm bringing you shorter shows, but I'm bringing it to you from Korea. So inflation numbers are out. Here are the inflation numbers. The core inflation, CPI, was 8.5%. Now, it says that the expectations here were 8.7%, but that's not really true, because the expectations were that they were going to come in at about 9%. And that was because the Atlanta Fed or the Cleveland Fed, one of them, published something yesterday and said, look, I know you guys think it's going to be 8.7%, but it's actually not. It's going to be somewhere around 8.9%. And they got us ready. And I tweeted earlier, I said, look, we haven't had a warning from the White House around inflation. And that's usually a good thing because they have been warning us every time that there's going to be high inflation. So expectations, as we said, 8.7% and now 8.5%. So why is this such good news? Well, for one, in fact, before we get there, if you bank with any of these banks, Scotia Bank, Goldman Sachs, Barclays, Citibank, any of these banks except for Credit Suisse, you should probably fire your bank because they have no idea what's going on, because the only bank that actually managed to call this right was Credit Suisse. So if you bank with Credit Suisse, great for you. What are the implications of this? Well, the market likes this news. We saw the NASDAQ. Let's look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ, now big green candle, 267 points up, 2.06%. Interestingly, let's go back and just look how far the NASDAQ is down from all-time highs and how far it is off its lows. So if we take the all-time high, the NASDAQ is still about 20% down from its all-time high. Let's quickly look at where it's come from. So let's look at where the NASDAQ's come from. NASDAQ was as low as 11,000, if I remember correctly, and we are now 22% up and still continuing to recover. And remember that now we don't get any inflation news until September, and we think that inflation in September will actually be lower than inflation is now. So by the next time the Fed meet, inflation would have gone down from 9.1 to probably somewhere around 7.8 or maybe even 8%. And that's going to show the Fed that what they're doing is working and they don't have to be that aggressive anymore. So what happened? Immediately after these numbers were published, we looked at the target rate, what the Fed will do when they get back from vacation, right? Fed gets back from vacation in September, and now all of a sudden, there's a 71% chance of a 50 basis point, 0.5%, 50 basis point rate hike. Earlier on today, the 75% rate hike was the more reliable one. Now we've got a month where there's no real data, there's a little bit of data, but no real data that could change the path of the Fed. And at the same time, what we're watching is the commodities prices being reduced, and so inflation will continue to come down. So quickly, let's just look at what caused inflation. So remember, inflation is measured year on year, okay? So if inflation is measured year on year, you see that the biggest contributor here was fuel, and the second biggest contributor was gasoline, and the third biggest contributor was gas. Those are the ones that are very high. Let's look at what's happened to the price of oil, because oil is actually the decider on these ones. And we can look at the gas price, which is pretty similar. But oil has come down just in the last month. So let's just go from July to where we are today. Just in the last month, oil is down another 10%. So what you can see is that the inflation numbers in September are going to be much lower. The Fed doesn't meet this month. They meet again in September after we get the inflation numbers, and they're going to be faced with a decision of what to do. Should they be aggressive or should they slow down? And that's exactly what Arthur Hayes said. Arthur Hayes said, well, over to you, Mr. Powell. You know what the inflation numbers look like. Now it's your move. What is your move going to be? Well, the market's betting that Powell's move is going to be 50 basis points. And I think that if the inflation numbers stay where they are or come down a bit more, then the Fed may even just go for 25 basis points. So that's where we are when it comes to inflation. Very big day, really makes us continue on our thesis. And remember that our thesis, we've been blocking out the noise. And remember, we said that we had a cascade of liquidations, which were a black swan event. And we said that as long as Bitcoin breaks over the 200-week moving average, we continue to buy. We continue to get more aggressive for as long as it goes in the trend line. And what do we see today? We saw something super interesting today. We saw, let me just move this for you guys. So we saw Bitcoin on the trend line the whole day, and I tweeted it earlier. Bitcoin was on the trend line waiting for inflation, because our narrative says there was a black swan event in crypto which made crypto get oversold. Our narrative is also that inflation is now coming to an end. And if that's the case, we use the charts to verify what our thesis is. And the charts told us that if Bitcoin was on the line here, and the charts told us if inflation goes up, Bitcoin is going to break down. And if inflation goes down, Bitcoin is going to go up. And we stick to that. We don't listen to the noise. Remember yesterday when people got scared and they said, oh, well, everyone's calling it short. And in fact, even today, look at this. I saw this today. The crypto community don't appear to believe in Bitcoin and other assets continuing to rise to prosperous levels according to the frequency of sell mentions in Reddit or Twitter. Because the masses don't actually have a theory. They don't have a thesis. What they're doing is they're going with sentiment. But that's what I said to you. By the time the sentiment changes, it's too late. I don't think it's too late yet, because if you look at the fear and greed, the fear and greed is still at 31. 31 is still very low, okay? So 31 is still, we're still in fear. We haven't pivoted to greed yet, which means that there could still be a long way up. And then I take that thesis and I look at the charts. And I just want the charts. I don't look at the charts first, because I'm a fundamentals man. But I make a thesis, I look at the thesis, and then I go, hold on a second. Does the chart tell me what the thesis is telling me? And that is my double confirmation. And if I get a double confirmation, and you'll see in 1 second when I look at the charts, I'm not only going to get a double confirmation, but I'm going to get triple and a quadruple confirmation. Then I've got to be bullish. And I've got to avoid what the YouTubers are saying and what the Twitter people are saying, because they're not going to pay my bank account at the end of the year. They're not going to pay my bills. They're not going to make me rich. They're not going to make me life-changing money. So what do? I look at the charts. Bang. What have the charts told me? The charts have told me the following. One is we're above the trend line. Two is the next resistance point is at 28,000, which means that probably Bitcoin is going to go towards 28,000. Three, we saw this yesterday, but for those of you who are new, and I know there are some new people, we look at the weekly, we look at the 200-week moving average, we're above it. So what is there to make me bearish? What is it to make me bearish? An oversold market that just went through a black swan event. Okay, I can't be bearish about that. The charts are telling me, certainly my charts are telling me, that we're over the 200-week moving average, which means that we're on the uptrend. We're on above the trend line, which means that I've got to continue to be bullish, because otherwise, why am I looking at the charts? So how can I be bearish? Then I go and look at some other charts just to keep verifying what I'm saying, keep verifying my thesis. I look at the US 10-year Treasury yield. Remember, there was this head and shoulders pattern, and this is for the newbies. This is the chart that tells us whether or not the market believes that the interest rate cycle is going to start going down. And what you can see is that even though we were touching this neckline over here because people were scared of inflation, now we're under the neckline. And I think that what's going to happen here is it's going to do something like this. And it's just going to go like this, and it's going to go like this, and it's going to go all the way down. And that's what we're going to see. And I think we'll land up at like 2.2 or 2.3%. And then I verify it with another chart. I don't stop there. I verify it with this US dollar index chart. Interest rates go down, the dollar is going to get weaker. The dollar's been parabolic. When the dollar goes up, assets become cheaper. Bitcoin becomes cheaper. Stocks become cheaper. But the dollar index has broken through that parabola, retested it, and is now on the way down because the inflation number is on the way down. You know what the best thing is? The next time I hear inflation numbers is in September. By that time, the Fed would have come back from vacation. We're going to have a much lower inflation number than we've got today, and everyone's going to applaud the Fed because what they're doing is working. So that's what it looks like. And it looks even better for altcoins than it looks for Bitcoin. Because yesterday I showed you it was alt season, and now we're looking at this Bitcoin dominance chart, as you can see, and it's broken this trend line, and it remains under the trend line. So I got to carry on with my thesis. I can't listen to the noise. I can't be sucked into Twitter, and I can't be sucked into people with PTSD. I've got to focus on the data. I've got to focus on the numbers, and I've got to have a stop loss or something that invalidates my thesis. But if my thesis is continues, well, that's it. Someone says we may have one more fish flap. All right, the markets are open. Let's quickly have a look. NASDAQ's up 287 points. Rest in peace, my NASDAQ position. Rest in peace, my NASDAQ position. I think I've lost a couple of grand on the NASDAQ. Doesn't matter. I've made it all up in crypto, so I'm cool. I'm chilled. It was my hedge. It was my hedge. All right. One last point. One last thing that actually validates my thesis, and that is this chart here by Elf. Now remember, Macro Alpha came on the show, was quite negative, and he said, look, the bond market is actually pricing the Fed to cut in 2023. And he says, look, he went back and he checked this, and he said 100% of the time, this chart predicts spot on, 100%. And what this chart is predicting is that the Fed is going to start cutting rates by 2023. So everything is lining up for me. Everything is lining up for me. I've showed you. The charts are lining up. The fear and greed index is lining up. People aren't euphoric yet. People are still scared. We haven't gone above fear. We're still in the red part of fear. People are sitting on the sidelines. No one believes this pump. We've been believing this pump for weeks already. We've been deploying our capital. We're reaping the rewards. Let's just quickly look at some of the rewards that you are reaping if you've been following our thesis. Let's quickly look at this. Hold on. Let me get you some charts. Let's quickly just look at some of the charts to show you, for those people who've actually had the conviction to join us and deploy. Let's look at Matic. Let's look at Matic, what you guys have done on Matic. So we'll look at a couple of charts. We're not going to look at all the charts because I do want to get on with the show. But if you did have the conviction to start buying when others were fearful, Matic 202%. Look at Phantom. Let's look at Phantom. Hold on a second. I saw Phantom earlier. Almost back at 40 cents, or maybe even already back at 40 cents. Here it is. 40 cents. There we go. There's your Phantom charts, people. There's your Phantom chart. 40 cents. If you had the conviction to buy, you would have doubled your money, or more, even more. Let's quickly look at what the bottom is here. Bottom was 20 cents. You would have doubled your money. Well done if you had conviction. There are some people who are sitting on their hands. There are still some people sitting on their hands, waiting for hammer time, waiting for 17,000. There are people who are doing that. Let's quickly look one more, GMX, which we've been talking about for so long, telling you guys that it's a great new narrative that Miles did a show about. So GMX from the lows, if you would have had the conviction to deploy while everyone on Twitter was telling you, oh, dead cat bounce, relief rally, you would have made 400%. So you got to decide, are you investing with a thesis or are you investing with the noise on Twitter? That's what you got to decide. We're investing with a thesis. We know what our thesis is. We know when it gets invalidated, and then we block out the noise, and everything else is just noise. And we know we're marching forward. We're marching forward. All right, let's look at another thing. Some more bullish news. I'm going to show you some great bullish news here. So the first bullish news is there is a new buyer of Bitcoin, biggest buyer that we've seen in a long time. In fact, this buyer is the biggest buyer we've seen since Tesla and is buying much more than Tesla. So all the Bitcoin that Tesla sold, this buyer is buying. And we haven't seen any announcement. So here we go. We have an unknown investor, spent $3 billion buying Bitcoin, purchased an average of 133,000 Bitcoin at an average price of 23,000. Some whale is buying the dip. This is probably not an individual. It could be a fund, or it could be another company that is buying it. And since we haven't heard anything, we could assume that it's probably a company that's going to report earnings. Could it be Amazon? Could it be Apple? Who else can put $3 billion into Bitcoin? I don't know. But what we do know is that there is a new whale, and all the Bitcoin that Tesla put into the market, this whale is buying, and buying them at the bottom. Okay, new address, not an existing address. And that's before we have Cathie Wood talking about the effects of Aladdin and BlackRock, which was signed with Coinbase. Remember, we'll talk about Coinbase's results in a second. But remember BlackRock, and remember the announcement that was made? I listened to a stream with Cathie Wood. I think you have to hear this. I think you have to hear what she said.
This was close, but we didn't quite get there. And then the other reassuring piece of news recently that came out was an agreement yesterday announced between BlackRock and Coinbase to partner so that BlackRock could, through its Aladdin technology solutions ecosystem, on which $40 trillion of assets sit.
Hold on, wait, let's just stop. Take a deep breath. $40 trillion is managed using BlackRock's system. Can you imagine if 1% of that comes into Bitcoin and crypto? Just 1% of that? So let's carry on listening to what she says about this.
Wanted a seamless on-ramp into crypto that Coinbase is going to provide. So this is another legitimization of Bitcoin and crypto generally as a new asset class. Some of this may have been caused by demand pull, institutions saying, hey, we want to get involved, and they're trying, but the plumbing was just too difficult. So that's good. We did a study on
listen to the numbers here
on institutions moving into crypto. You can see it in our Big Ideas 2022. You can see the picture. And if we're right, that 40 trillion just from BlackRock's platform hosting other institutions, that would translate, if you just took our study, which basically said if you want to access crypto, but you want to minimize, you're more focused on minimizing volatility than increasing your Sharpe ratio, then you would put 2.5% into crypto. And if you're more interested in the Sharpe ratio, so returns per measure of risk, than you are about volatility, you'd put 6.5%. So assuming that 2.5% on this $40 trillion platform, that's $1 trillion of demand. Now, it's not that, and that would more than double the crypto, the Bitcoin price right there, if we just assumed it was all done in Bitcoin, which this agreement is only focused on Bitcoin. Now, what that misses, however, is what we call illiquid supply. There are hodlers out there, holders for dear life, or I've forgotten what that's all about. Hold on for dear life. And so the illiquid supply, according to our estimates, is about 14 million out of the roughly, I think we're into near 19 million, 18 to 19 million Bitcoin outstanding. So illiquid, 14 million. So
imagine a market where you've got 14 million out of 19 million illiquid, and maybe potentially $1 trillion coming in. That's only if 2.5% of the asset manager's money flows into Bitcoin off the Aladdin system alone. So look, I don't know, if you're still sitting here and waiting for hammer time, great. Sit and you can watch the show every single day, and you can just watch the show and have FOMO. That's pretty much what's going to happen. Again, I'm not saying we're not going to get another leg down, but I'm saying if you're listening to the noise and you're not working off a thesis, then you're crazy. Then you're not an investor. Then you're here to lose. You're going to the casino to lose. All right, let's look at the other big one. So the other big one is, of course, Ethereum. I got some big news for Ethereum holders. First of all, some people, specifically this guy, yesterday was worried. He told me, oh, look, Ethereum's just broken down below the trend line. So Tim, look, you can't be looking at Ethereum. You've got to be looking at Bitcoin, because Ethereum will correct itself. That's exactly what happened. You can see Ethereum now 1831, but that's not the good news. The good news is that if you look at the options on Ethereum for after the merge, which is how big traders, sophisticated traders, are pricing Ethereum after the merge if there is a successful merge. Look at the numbers here. Look at these numbers. So the biggest open interest of puts is at 4,000 and 5,000. So that means that there are a lot of people. Let's look at where the spread is of these puts. 4,000 is the most. 5,000, some at 10,000. I don't know who's thinking that. They're buying out of the money puts or selling out of the money puts. Then there's 2,200, 2,000, 2,800 over here. The max paying price is $1,350, but just look at where these people are putting their options. So there's a lot of speculation on the merge, and I think that now that inflation is out of the way, what we're going to get is we're going to get a massive run in Ethereum. And you can see it's already started. Here we go. Ethereum is at 1824. I think probably worth taking a position. Another thing around the merge, well, we know now that Tether is going to support the merge, but what we're seeing now is that the excitement around the proof of work chain is actually starting to die down. And remember I said to you there was an arbitrage. Remember I said to you that if you looked at STETH and you looked at ETH, the differential should have been about 4% or 3.5%, and it was 7%. Well, now that's come back. So now the ETH proof of work chain is only valued at 4% of the chain. I still think there's going to be fireworks here. I still think that there's going to be another flap from the fish. I think the fish is going to do one more flap. So yeah, that's that. Let's see what else. if you haven't joined our BYBIT trading competition, your time is running out. Okay, your time is running out. You've got there's 1,356 people. If you're in the US, you didn't hear it from me, but just use a VPN, open an account. I'm going to be funding 50 accounts. I'm going to start tomorrow funding 50 accounts to trade. How do you do this? Well, you go open an account. Here, I'm going to be funding. You click on this link over here, on this referral link, and that gets you into this thing here, and then just accept this. Let's try and get this up to 2,000 people before we start it. And remember, the more people that enter, the more money that we win. And we're going to be doing weekly prizes. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we're going to make money because the market's going up. So we're going to have a lot of fun. In fact, today we're going to put through some trades just for fun. What else? The saga of Tornado Cash continues. So the price is not doing too bad. It's still at 19 bucks. Remember, this was sanctioned by the US government. It's a decentralized protocol which has been sanctioned by the US government. I mean, it's the craziest thing I've ever heard. The fact that the US government is sanctioning a decentralized protocol that is 90% used for good activities and 10% used for illicit activities is absolutely ridiculous. But you can see that what happened yesterday was one of the highest usage days out of Tornado Cash. So look at this. This is the post-sanctions activity. I guess it was people trying to withdraw their money out of Tornado Cash. But instead of drawing the money into their own account, what they did was they went to famous American accounts that had, and what they did was they just sent them Tornado Cash, ETH from Tornado Cash. So now all these accounts are effectively should be sanctioned because they've been interacting with Tornado Cash. People like Jimmy Fallon, Puma, Beeple, all have been receiving money from the Tornado Cash account. Now, what we are seeing is we're seeing that USDC, which is a centralized stablecoin, is starting to ban addresses over time. Now, just look how many addresses they're banning over time. And that's why, again, we can't be relying on centralized stablecoin providers because that's not part of the decentralized system. That's not part of the decentralized system. All right, let's carry on. We did get Coinbase results yesterday. Terrible results. They lost 1.09 billion, which was huge, which was much bigger than people anticipated. And that's because of the bear market. The only reason why they lost money is because of the bear market. I wanted to look a little bit deeper into numbers with you just to show you what's going on in the market. If you look at Q2 of 2021 and you look at Q4 of 2021, which was the bull market, and you look at how much retail has been washed out, you can see that the retail activity is 46 and it was 177, which means that 75% of retail is out of this market. And if you look at institutions, the number is not that bad, which means that the institutions are a bit smarter. Okay, so the institutions are a bit smarter. But still, you can see that interest in crypto died. And as interest in crypto dies, our views go down, their trading volume goes down because all the retail investors, all the retail tourists actually jump out the market. All right, lastly, not lastly, we can talk about a few more things. Elon Musk, remember he said that he wasn't going to sell any more Tesla shares because he had sold so many Tesla shares, remember? So he said no further Tesla sales planned. That was on the 28th of April after he had sold. Let's just quickly look at where he had sold. So he had sold here. He sold in November. He sold 1.05 billion, which brought him to 9 billion. He sold again in December. He sold it in April. I think this was April. Yeah, in April again, he sold another 4 million shares. So he's been selling shares. And again, today, he sold $6.9 billion worth of Tesla. Now, there's a lot of speculation as to why is Elon Musk selling Tesla. One of the things that people are talking about is maybe he kind of realizes that he actually has to make the Twitter purchase. And he did say that the one thing that may make him sell Tesla shares is if I hopefully unlikely in the hopefully unlikely event that Twitter forces me to close the deal and some equity partners don't come through, it's important for me to avoid an emergency sale of Tesla stock. So maybe this is the reason why Elon Musk is selling some of his Twitter stock. Maybe not, but that's some of the speculation. There is another bit of speculation that Elon Musk is selling his stock because Jim Cramer said that he's all in on Tesla. And even Elon knows that if Jim Cramer says that he's buying Tesla, you got to sell. If Jim Cramer is buying something, you got to sell. Even if you're the owner of the company, if Jim Cramer is buying it, you got to sell it. You got to sell it because you know it's going to go down. You know it's going to go down. right, let's see. Is there anything else that's worth talking about, or should we just do some trades? Three Arrows Capital's liquidations continue. So, I mean, there's a chart here that you can see. But if you look at this very closely, they started to sell all their holdings. They're pretty much disposing of all their holdings slowly. So it looks like the liquidator is hard at work, disposing of all the holdings. Also, we did have Curve, the Curve front end. Curve is a stable coin DEX. The Curve front end was hacked, and the hacker got away with about $577 million or something along those lines. We don't know the exact number yet. It is all back in order now, and I think you can use Curve, so that's done. Mashinsky may be in trouble because Canadian regulators are working with United States government to investigate Celsius Network and investigate Alex Mashinsky. So that's another thing which is happening there. All right, let's have some fun. First of all, remember, if you want CoinStats is where I keep all my portfolios, right? Oh, wow, you can see our portfolio is doing actually quite well. This is our DCA portfolio. What CoinStats allows me to do, it allows me to look at all my accounts in one place, my exchange accounts and my MetaMask accounts all in one place. It costs about $8 a month. One of the best tools that I use to see. I don't know about you, but when you wake up in the morning, how do you know what your crypto portfolio has done? So I use CoinStats. And remember, if we can get more than 200 signups in August, then one of those people will win a Bitcoin. So I think your odds of getting a Bitcoin are amazing. So sign up today. But at the end of August, we're going to give away that Bitcoin if we get to over 200 subscribers. Let's look at the markets one more time, and then let's look at the portfolio and decide what we're going to be doing. Oh, what are the markets doing? Let's quickly look at this. Bitcoin. 24,000. Let's quickly just look at the portfolio that I have here. This is my BYBIT account. Remember, I told you guys I'm going to play open cards with you and just show you what it's doing and what's in it. This is my BYBIT account. So I have, actually, let's quickly go derivatives. Let's quickly go to the derivatives account. Let's look at that. So in a derivatives account, I've got a position. These are all leverage positions. I've got a 10x leverage position open on Bitcoin, 65,000 in profit. I've got a small Cardano, well, I've got a bigger Cardano position at 47 cents, which is 12,000 in profit. My DOT position is 13,000 in profit. My near position is 10,000 in profit. My DYDX position is not in profit yet. And I really believe that DYDX is actually going to be good. So I think I may actually load up on some DYDX. I'm going to do that. The other thing is, I do believe that we should be dollar cost averaging into top tokens regardless of the price. So even on a day like this, the first thing I'm going to do is just top up. Let me just quickly buy myself a Bitcoin because I haven't bought a Bitcoin for a while, and just quickly add a Bitcoin there. And I'm not looking at the price, even if the price is high. I'm dollar cost averaging, so it really doesn't matter to me. It really doesn't matter to me. I don't even remember what price I bought these things at. I may add some more to my DYDX position. Follow me on Twitter because I'm quickly going to go look at the market. I'm going to look at a whole lot of coins. I did add some Aurora earlier. I told you why I'm adding Aurora, because the NEAR conference is coming up. I took a position in NEAR. Remember, I said to you, because I think that NEAR is going to run because of the conference, right? So I said that to you guys. I said, I think NEAR is going to run ahead of its conference. So I had conviction. I bought at $5.15. It's now at $5.68. I think the next one to run actually is Aurora. And I'll show you why I think Aurora. So remember, Aurora is the EVM compatible. You can't really call it a chain, but it's the EVM compatible chain on NEAR protocol. Oh, bang, up 10.5%. I still think it's probably a buy. And I mean, full disclosure, I have been buying it. So, the reason why I think it's a buy, look at this. So if I look at let's just go back. The maximum price of this thing was $35. Now, obviously, $35 was not realistic. $14, I don't know what realistic is, but now it's trading at, if you look at the lows, $1.35, and it's trading at $2. And I think, if you do believe in NEAR, we're going to go to NearCon, and we're going to cover NearCon in September. We're going to be there, bring you live coverage. But if you do believe in it, then, I don't know, to me, that's one of the ones that I'm adding. So full disclosure, I have been buying it. I may have been the one to push it up to 215. I don't know. I'm not at the office, so my traders may have been doing it. Listen, got 2 minutes for Q&A. If you want to ask something, here I am. Literally two more minutes. We don't usually do Q&A, so if you want to If you want to ask anything, let's do it. I loved the show today. It was absolute fun. I'm so glad that I made it back to the hotel to bring you guys the show. People are asking about Kujira. I spoke about Kujira yesterday. I think it's amazing. I think Kujira is amazing. I think Kujira, as I said, what they're doing, I can't give you too much detail on, but I can tell you the team is absolutely amazing. Near or Solana depends on your risk profile. If you want to go higher risk, higher return, Near, lower risk, what I call a sure thing, but there's no such thing as a sure thing, Solana. Just keep buying. Just keep buying Solana. Keep buying Solana. Keep buying Solana. Do I think the bottom is in? Yes. Elio Trade says don't buy. El Capo says don't buy. And maybe they're right. Hold on. But maybe they're right. Maybe they're right. I don't know if they're right or they're wrong. But what I can tell you, oh, someone wants to see pictures. Okay, look, I'm going to show you some pictures. But hold on, let me quickly get these pictures. But hold on, how do you do this? I don't know if you can do this in WhatsApp. Give me a second. Let me try and find how to do it. Oh man, I can't do it on WhatsApp on the desktop. Let me look one last time and see if there's any way to do it. Media. How do you find media on WhatsApp on the desktop? Here we go, media. Show you more or less what it was like last night. Hold on. Hold on. This should be quite fun. It's just downloading, so just give it a second. It's downloading. I'll show you more or less what our night was like last night. Okay, hold on a second. Let me find you some pictures from last night. Okay, it's trying to download from WhatsApp, and it's a video, so I don't know how long it's going to take. Competition. Okay, so as I said, competition. Sign up for the BYBIT competition. There were about 1,350 people there. Let's do it. GALA, yes, I like GALA. By the way, speaking of GALA, let me show you something. Can't say too much, but let me show you something. So it sounds to me like GALA is going into films or something to do with films. You can see it in what they're saying and what they're doing. It's just stay tuned. There is something I'm trying to find you guys. Okay, so this is more or less what last night looked like. Yeah, that is me drinking straight out of a champagne bottle. That is me. Hold on, I'll show you one or two other pictures from last night. Just hope that we can. Whoa, hold on a second. Okay, it's just downloading a video. Okay, so that was last night, and it's going to be again tonight. So I don't know if you're in Korea, hook me up. See you guys again tomorrow. You can see I'm tired. This is what it's been like. See you guys again tomorrow. It's been amazing fun bringing you the show. Do me a favor, give me some comments in the below. Let me know what you think about the show. Let me know what you think about the thesis. I need to get those comments up and the likes up because that's what's going to get us unshadow banned. Love you guys, man. You're the best family in the world. I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Until then, trade well, my friends.